What if Obi-Wan Kenobi married Duchess Satine Kryze before the Phantom Menace? So when Obi-Wan was a Padawan, he and Qui-Gon Jinn were on Mandalore for a year, and of course they eventually returned. But what if Obi-Wan Kenobi just decided to stay because he really liked Satine and Satine really liked him? In that case, Qui-Gon would just return Coruscant on his own, and Qui-Gon would be sad and disappointed that Obi-Wan Kenobi decided to leave the Jedi Order, but I think he would also just be very happy for Obi-Wan Kenobi that Obi-Wan was able to follow his feelings and his heart, and so that would be the end. Now, when Qui-Gon Jinn returns, I doubt that the Jedi Council would allow Qui-Gon Jinn to have another Padawan because, they already don't like Qui-Gon, and plus, seeing as how Qui-Gon's Padawan Obi-Wan would have left the Jedi Order, that would reflect poorly on Qui-Gon's record, so that'd be on his permanent record. So anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi would help Duchess Satine rebuild Mandalore, and that he would be like Duke Obi-Wan or something, Duke Obi-Wan, Duchess Satine, and they would rule Mandalore and bring peace and stability. And Obi-Wan would probably be able to weed out more of the Death Watch people and make sure that they are put away. And he would probably try to limit the amount of corruption and try to solve it as much as possible. So Mandalore would be doing better with Obi-Wan as Duchess Satine's husband. Now, the Battle of Naboo would still happen, blockade of Naboo, and Darth Sidious would still be using Newt Gunray and the rest of them to do that stuff. In this case, I think that Qui-Gon Jinn would be sent to deal with the Dread Federation on his own, and Qui-Gon Jinn would still have to get Jar Jar and Queen Amidala and the Handmaidens and Panaka off of Naboo, and they would end up stranded on Tatooine for a moment because their ship would still be damaged. And Qui-Gon Jinn would find Anakin Skywalker and free Anakin Skywalker, but in this case, once they get to Coruscant, Jedi Council would obviously refuse to train Anakin Skywalker. And so Qui-Gon Jinn and Padme Amidala and the rest of them would go back to Naboo, whereas a vote of no confidence has been triggered for Chancellor Valorum, so Palpatine would be getting elected Chancellor, and Darth Sidious would be getting everything he wants. And meanwhile, Qui-Gon Jinn would fight Darth Maul, while Anakin Skywalker would accidentally blow up the Trade Federation ship and depower all the droids. And so Qui-Gon Jinn would be fighting Darth Maul, and Darth Maul would kill Qui-Gon Jinn very easily, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is not even there to help. And so with that, Qui-Gon Jinn is dead, Anakin Skywalker has nowhere to go. Jedi Council obviously refuses to train Anakin Skywalker still, because the only reason they trained him in the real timeline is because Obi-Wan said it was Qui-Gon's dying wish, and Obi-Wan was pretty insistent on it, so Yoda basically just gave up and it's like, fine, whatever. But without Obi-Wan in this scenario, Anakin's not getting trained. So I think in this scenario, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Duchess Satine would attend Qui-Gon Jinn's funeral, and Obi-Wan would be sad. And seeing as how Anakin has nowhere to go, and the Council doesn't just want Anakin wandering anywhere, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi and Satine Kryze would adopt Anakin Skywalker as their son. And Satine and Obi-Wan, being as compassionate and nice as they are, I think they would go to Tatooine and free Shmi Skywalker from slavery. Obviously, Satine would have the money to do that, so Shmi Skywalker and Anakin Skywalker would go back to Mandalore to live with Obi-Wan and Satine. I think Anakin and Shmi would be relatively well-off people. Now, obviously, Darth Maul has never been cut in half in this scenario, so Darth Maul would go back to Darth Sidious, and Darth Sidious and Darth Maul would plot off the Clone Wars, and they would start the Clone Wars. And obviously, Darth Sidious does not need Count Dooku in this scenario, so if Count Dooku has already fallen to the dark side, or if he's just a little iffy, I think Count Dooku and Darth Maul might probably do away with Count Dooku just to make sure that this former Jedi weirdo is not getting in the way of anything. So, but Count Dooku would be irrelevant in this scenario. So let's say the Clone Wars is about to begin. Obviously, Padme Amidala arrives on Coruscant, and I think in this scenario, it's possible that Padme Amidala might be killed, because obviously without Anakin and Obi-Wan protecting her, maybe there would be like some other Jedi protecting her, and maybe they wouldn't do as good of a job. So yeah, it's possible Padme might be killed, or maybe she wouldn't be, but regardless, the Clone Wars would break out and things would happen, and Darth Maul would be occasionally fighting and killing Jedi, and the Jedi would be outmatched. And so Of course, the Separatists would align with Death Watch, and Death Watch terrorist attacks on Mandalore would increase. And with that, Duchess Satine would be in danger. Obi-Wan Kenobi would be trying to protect her. And of course, I think Darth Maul would go to Mandalore personally to deal with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he would probably kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Duchess Satine and Death Watch would take over Mandalore. And Darth Maul might also find Anakin Skywalker and Shmi Skywalker and kill them too, because he might realize what Anakin is and he wants to get rid of any threat. So that could happen as well. And Darth Maul and Darth Sidious would win, do a Jedi purge, kill all the Jedi, and a Sith would rule. And so and maybe Mother Talzin would try to get a revenge on Darth Sidious, and maybe she would win, or maybe he would win. So, yeah, without Obi-Wan Kenobi in the picture, if Obi-Wan Kenobi had just left the Jedi Order and married Duchess Satine before the Phantom Menace, a lot of things would change, because Obi-Wan Kenobi is so important to Anakin's upbringing and training. So there we go. A lot of crazy things could happen.